What business are you really in? I'll tell you what business I'm in. I'm in the winning business. And today I'm going to share with you my 5 tips for winning every time with relationship sales. Join me for that on this episode of The Dave Lorenzo Daily. Welcome back. My name is Dave Lorenzo, and I'm here every day, and that's why we call this the Dave Lorenzo Daily. If you're joining me for the first time, I'm so happy you're here. Please make sure you stay with me by hitting the subscribe button and ringing the bell. When you subscribe by clicking that subscribe button and ringing that bell, you get notifications every time we upload a new video. And this is really important because at least once a week, we go live with an interview with a fantastic expert or someone who's just absolutely killing it in their business or industry, and they deliver actionable tips you can use. We call that show on Thursdays the Do This, Sell More show, and you can find it right here on the Dave Lorenzo Daily every Thursday at noon. Thanks again for joining me, and today we're talking about the winning business. We're talking about how you can win with relationship-based sales. Now, there are many sales experts out there, and they're delivering tips, strategies, techniques for you to grow your sales. And most of those strategies and techniques will work if you put them into action. There's the issue that we run into with salespeople all the time, that they struggle. They struggle with prospecting. They struggle with some of the tips those gurus deliver. And the reason they struggle is because those sales tips, those sales strategies feel unnatural. Think about it. You're sitting at home in the middle of dinner and the phone rings, and you pick up the phone and somebody says, "Hey, Joe Smith, thank you so much. I'm glad you can talk to me today. I want to talk to you about your long distance service. Are you ready to switch? I can save you 20%. And you got a mouthful of food, your dinner has been interrupted, you've had a long day, and you're sitting with your family. Well, it's tough for you receiving that information. But think about the person who has to call and interrupt hundreds, if not thousands of people's dinners so they can get them to switch their long distance service. That person has to stay motivated on every single call. That's where you are, and that's where the sales guru garbage comes in. Look, cold calling and interrupting people and pestering the crap out of them, that works maybe one time out of 100 attempts if you're really good. But there's a better way. There's a way that you can win, and there's a way that your prospect can win. And that's called relationship-based sales, or relationship selling, relationship sales, however you want to describe it. The biggest thing with relationship-based sales is that you're focused on the long term. You may hear people say, think of the 4th sale first. Well, what they're describing to you is they're describing building a relationship. They're describing working with someone in a way where you win and they win. It's a true win-win environment. So I'm going to give you today the 5 steps to winning with relationship sales. And these steps are so simple. After you shut off the video, you're going to be able to go out and implement them right away. And here's what you'll notice. You feel better about yourself. And the reason you feel better about yourself is because you're not bothering people and interrupting them. You're actually helping them. You're welcomed into their world, and you're welcomed into the environment where they need you to solve a problem. Big difference between someone needing you and inviting you in, and you interrupting them in the middle of dinner or in the middle of their workday. So let's talk about relationship sales and the 5 steps to winning with relationship selling. Step number 1, deliver value by solving a problem or helping your prospect achieve a goal, or at minimum by making an introduction to someone who could be valuable to them. You always lead with value. The very first time you meet someone, a prospective client or somebody who's an evangelist, someone who could recommend you or recommend your services, What you want to do is you want to find out what's going on in their world. You want to find out what challenges they're having. And then you want to, at minimum, try to introduce them to someone who can help them solve a problem or help them achieve a goal. Introduce them to someone who can refer them some business. Show them that you're interested in demonstrating value. So you have to first listen to what they're talking about, and then you have to try to offer some sort of help. Now, occasionally you'll meet someone who says right away that they have a problem that you can instantly solve. And in that case, you ask them if they'd like some help. Would you like some help with that? And when they say, what do you mean? Would I like some help? Of course I'd like some help. How does that work? Tell me about it. Then you can offer your solution. But that's a rare occasion. You always lead with value, always lead by trying to introduce them to someone who can help them solve a problem or introduce them to someone who can help them achieve a goal. Step number 2 in winning with relationship sales is to get permission to communicate with them frequently. Mr. Jones, I'd love to introduce you to my friend Pete. Pete does blah, 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 and he can help you by blah, blah, blah. You tell them what Pete does. You tell them how Pete can help them. They say, yes, absolutely, make the introduction. You go and you make the introduction of Mr. Jones to Pete. Everything goes well. You call him a week later and you say, hey, Mr. Jones, how'd the meeting go with Pete? He says it went terrific. He thanks you for the introduction. You say, it's my pleasure. Glad to do it. I know you'd do the same for me. I write an email every week telling people what's going on in my world, giving them some helpful information. It's an educational email once a week. I'd like to put you on that list. You can unsubscribe at any time. Is that okay? That's step 2. You get permission to communicate frequently with them. People are always going to say yes to this. They're never going to say no. And if they find it too intrusive, they'll unsubscribe. Step number 3, you have to be interesting. Think about the friends that you want to spend the most time with. They're fun, they're entertaining, they're interesting. So while you're communicating with this person through a weekly email newsletter or a print newsletter that goes out in the mail once a month or videos every day, you got to be interesting, you got to be entertaining, you got to deliver value in that information that you're sending to them as well. Be fun to be around, be interesting, be entertaining. Critical point to maintaining the relationship. Step number 4. Share client success stories. You always want to tell people client success stories and teach them lessons through stories that you tell about your clients. Help them understand the value you provide through stories that your clients tell. Even better, invite your clients in to tell the stories themselves. You can interview your clients and send that out as part of your weekly newsletter and have your clients talk about the value you've provided to them, and that will have a huge impact. That will have a massive impact. And the reason it has such a big impact is the prospect can put themselves in your client's shoes. They can see what's going on through the client's eyes, and they get what you do in a way that they've never understood it before because they put themselves in that position. So step number 4, always share client stories in your weekly email newsletter, in your monthly newsletter, whenever you get together with people, when you're speaking from the stage, in everything you write, share client stories. Step 5, offer more value. Always try to help solve problems. Once in a while, once a quarter or every other month, I want you to reach out to your prospects, to your clients, to your evangelists, and just do a how's it going call. You reach out to them and you say, how's it going? And they'll tell you, and when they tell you about things that they're finding to be challenging, you try to help them solve those problems. Whether you can help yourself or you can introduce them to someone who can help, that's the way you deliver more value. Always looking to solve problems for them, always listening to what they have to say. These 5 steps are valuable, and you didn't hear anything about closing or always be closing or pushing products or offering services. This is a long-term proposition. You're in this for the long term to help your client be successful. They will obviously recognize that. They'll notice what makes you different from everybody else who does what you do, and they will take an interest in you and your success. That's how relationship-based sales works. Relationship selling is about you delivering value for the long term and the client staying with you for the long term, and you will have the ability to solve dozens of problems for them with your products, with your services, through your company. And even if you move from one company to the next, those people will stay with you because you care about them and you've demonstrated that you care over the long term. This has been the 5 steps to winning with relationship-based sales. I'm Dave Lorenzo, and I hope you take this information and go out and make a ton of money. I'll see you right back here tomorrow on the Dave Lorenzo Daily. But until then, I hope you do this and sell more.